Okay, I have to preface this by saying that this right here is the start of this piece's journey to looking better. Like, it had to go through the ugly art phase before it starts coming together, and now that it's gotten to this point of looking as freaky as it does, it's finally time to start lining this piece, and this piece will seriously start to look like it can become something. Like, it had to go downhill before it went uphill, but now we are finally at the point where it's starting to go uphill. For this piece, I'm only using 3 colors, 2 greens and an orange. I am limiting myself to those colors, and at first glance, it looks like it's not going to work. In fact, blending in the orange into the green really did make it seem that way, but I was determined to make it work. And for now, as she gains eyebrows and eyes, and her nose starts to take shape, face shape is being refined, and the lips start to stand out, it's starting to look like something more. You see, I told you that it would start to come together, and the more color in, the more put together this piece will look. It'll still be a bit intense. The pose of the drawing warrants a certain amount of intensity, but it won't look creepy like it did in the beginning. Instead of working everywhere at once, I work on one aspect of my painting at a time, which can make it look awkward midway. But once more and more pieces of the puzzle are put together, the painting starts to bloom the way that I intended to do. So knowing that, I wasn't too freaked out about how my painting was looking during the process, since I knew that once I did some of the line work, especially those of her features, and once the hair gets done, the painting will be free of that ugly art phase. I guess I'm just used to it and used to my process, that when my painting does go downhill, I know not to stress out too much about it, because just ahead is the uphill. That being said, I know I'm not the only one who goes through like an ugly art phase of their process, and I guess because I know this notion exists, I won't abandon a painting or a drawing halfway. And I do recommend others to not abandon their pieces, because it could seem like things are going horrible, and in the end, it actually turns out alright. And while sometimes when things are going bad, it still ends up bad, but I feel like most of the time when you think things are going bad, they don't end up that way, and it ends up being better than you thought it was going to end up. Really, the only way you would know is by finishing the piece. So I do recommend finishing your pieces, and even if your premonition that it was going to turn out horrible turns out to be true, you still gain knowledge and experience of doing the whole process that can be useful towards your next piece. So regardless of the result, sticking it out through the process ends up being a skill building experience. Anywho, I added more of the turquoisey green, the viridian, more layers of that onto the face. It dried a bit duller, and I wanted a little bit more of that green popping through, so I layered a little bit more of that, and this is how the piece turned out in the end. Well, not really in the end, but like for now, this is how the piece turned out.